What's going on, guys? We're taking a look at the Domination Station Optimizer for DFS Army. And we're looking at the NHL Optimizer and more specifically, the NHL stacking system that we've implemented. I believe this is the single best optimizer in existence for attacking NHL contests. And I'm basically going to show you how to use the stacking feature without diving too deep into why stacking is important in hockey, but just know that it's really important. So let's take a look here. What I've got open on screen is the NHL Optimizer. And again, we're about to embark on the 2023 season. So this is new and new for this season. So, of course, you have your standard optimizer settings here, salary, fantasy points range, all that good stuff. In the utility, you can actually control here for how much exposure of any particular position group you allow in the utility space. Again, I'm not going to get into strategy, but a lot of times you don't want too many defensemen in the utility as an example. Here's a function where you allow players versus opposing goalie. And on a 3-game slate like this, it's actually a reasonable check mark to allow. Your randomization and all of that good stuff. But we're here today to take a look at the stacking system. So this is really what I wanted to show you. Now, the way NHL stack works is very similar to MLB with some exceptions, right? Baseball has more players on a team, more effectively more players that are correlated with one another. So you tend to want to use bigger stacks like 3, 4, or even 5-player stacks. With hockey, we're really dealing with lines, the line one or the second line or the first line. Effectively, we're trying to pair up players that are correlated with one another. So a center gets an assist when he passes it to the wingman, and the wingman gets the goal, and everybody does some scoring. Okay, that's the general idea. So in hockey, you want to have different types of stacks. And right here, you'll see the various stack combinations available to you: 2-2-2, 3-2-X, 3-3-X, 4-2-X, 4-3-X. These are the ones available to you. There are more stringent stack rules like 2-2-2, 3-2-2, etc., etc. Now, you as the user have the power to choose, right? The first thing we're going to choose is which stack types we want to allow in our lineups. One thing to note is if you allow the 3-2-X, and the X meaning could be anything, can be more players from the first two teams. The X means it can be anything there. So effectively, this would be a 3-2, and the rest of the players in the lineup would just be free floating based on the projection. That style of stack is the most loose, meaning that the optimizer will always favor something like that over a stricter 2-2-2 or 3-2-2 type stack where you're effectively constraining the tool more. So within each stack type, you as the user can specify how much of that stack you want. You can say, hey, I want 50% of these to be the stack. You can max limit the stack. You could say, I only want, 20%, but no more than 20%, but no more than 30% of my lineups this way. You could do something like that. Or you could simply allow the optimizer to do it at once. So you as the user select which stack types you want. Normally for me, I might choose 2 of these that I like a lot. So I might go 50% here and 50% here, depending on the size of the slate. In a small slate like this, I think you want to be a little more stack heavy, but that's the first step. Now, when you have a 3-team stack, the next thing we want to do is either, again, you can allow it to free float, or you can choose what stacks you want. The user has all the power in the stacking approach. So again, if I like Tampa, but I want that first line, I could go 10% Tampa, line 1, or this is 100, but yeah, I would go 10% Tampa, line 1, right? If I like Chicago, but I only like line 2, I might go 20% Chicago, line 2. Now, if I like Chicago, but I like 1, 2, even 3 or 4, PP1, PP, I don't care, then you can just set this number. You can leave these open. It will choose either line 1 or line 2 or PP1. Whatever you have highlighted, it will choose. Now, if I don't want to retype this, I can now just mirror those stacks in these other lineups as well, and that will force a certain amount of those teams, and then it will free float to choose the rest of the stack. So obviously, NHL is more involved of a sport in general compared to even MLB, where you just kind of have a team. With NHL, you have your line one, line two, and all of that. Now, I'm going to go down to the player pool to kind of show you how this works. If you look at the player pool, the players are marked by what line and what power play group they're in. So Erik Karlsson would be part of L2 for his team and power play one. One nice thing about the way we set up the domination station is if you get information just before lock that, oh, actually Erik Karlsson is going to be used in the line one this week, or something changed, you can adjust it. Just make the adjustment yourself. But we plug in the numbers as we get them from the teams. So hopefully these are mostly correct. Once you've set up your stacks, and again, you can kind of force whatever you want. I can force 50% of 3-3X. We're going to run our lineups. I only did 3 here. Actually, let's run, just for the purpose of this example, let's run 10 lineups here. So I'm just going to hit run, and we'll make our 10 lineups. And from here, we can actually go in and see which teams were used, what types of stacks were used in what groupings. So here I've got, Nashville 40%, et cetera, et cetera. It shows you where the stacks are used, what kind of stack combination, Chicago, Pitts, Tampa, all these different combinations. And you as the user, again, can go back in and say, oh, this is too little or too much. I can set max limits to any particular team across all the stacks. I can set max limits for any particular team within a stack. So stack 1, stack 2, stack 3. And I can also set limits on these stack combinations. I'm telling you, this is the most powerful and easiest NHL stacking model in existence. Again, it is freshly built at the end of the 2022 season. So I'm really excited about this. And I'm really excited to see you guys crushing some NHL this year using this system. Again, you still have, of course, the standard projections and all the other stuff that we have with the optimizer, your best plays. You want to hit the like, love, and adore. So all the usual stuff. But what I really wanted to focus in on here was the new stacking feature that makes NHL a lot of fun. So good luck this season, everybody. We will see you on top of those leaderboards.